Hello everybody, my name is Dell or Dells are Slit, and today we're doing a reaction video. So this is gonna be another thing with Foundry. So this is gonna be world building with giant monsters. Let's see, what we got here? Campfires, absolute here, yep. Links and all that shit down there. Anyways,
Or King Kong, something
oh shit.
strange. When you watch a movie like Jurassic Park or Godzilla or King Kong, something strange starts to happen. Beneath the excitement of the destruction and the fighting, these towering beasts and how they're designed, they make you
They're
feel
awesome.
something. Something you probably also feel when you see the huge silhouette of a whale passing beneath your vessel, the first time you see how ridiculously big a moose actually is in person, when you stand among the towering redwoods. And I've been wondering, what is that? What is that emotion you're experiencing? A lot of things, probably, but
wonder.
I'm certain that they mostly stem from the simple realization that you
I feel like giantess.
are small. They make you feel small. That sounds obvious, but it's important, and I think, with all your human self-import, it's an easy thing to forget. They break through your self-confidence and make you feel odd, unsafe, impotent, unsecured. You feel almost as if you're being pulled into their orbit. It's no wonder these behemoths show up in so much fiction. From a speculative standpoint, they really...
I'm gonna be honest with you, I've made my own fucking kaiju characters. They're fucking great. Well, kaiju characters and monsters. Most of them just monsters. Oh, an anteater that has claws that are an anteater aardvark hybrid that's with claws that turn objects to wood as it cuts through them easily with its claw with them. A giant leviathan creature that flies. A thing called the black leviathan that has like four wings, but they're kind of like the manta ray type wings. They're like flappy layers of flesh, and then it has like a long tail. It's so big that his head can bite down and swallow an entire Attack on Titan city from the biggest wall in one go. With these giant, large arms. I have a fucking kraken salamander thing that's also. I need to stop ranting. We're only a minute into this. Let's go.
give authors and artists a lot of interesting material to play with. How raw physics works upon them, how the ecosystem will react, how they evolved to be what they are, the effects of the square cube law. That's all
Shut the fuck up. Who cares about the square cube law? That's bullshit.
really fascinating stuff, and totally fair game, but I think there's something more fundamental here.
It breaks my fun.
Something that has less to do with biology and ecology, and more to do with size comparison, and the dynamics that creates. It's enough to move entire worlds to a response, affect the psychology of a civilization, and move them to action. Which also makes it an incredible component for world building, thematically rich and narratively compelling. Ladies and gentlemen, for the benefit of your creative brains, I give you Giant Monsters.
Yeah. Nice.
We are about to talk a lot about world building and make a lot of interesting suggestions for ways that you could build your own. But the truth is that world building is really hard. So before we start, if you're interested in trying to world build for yourself, I'd like you to go try out Campfire, an online tool for world building and writing that will break the process down into manageable pieces for you. It really does turn this whole thing from a daunting challenge into something that's just really fun to get into. A big thanks to them for sponsoring this video and giving us the opportunity to share something with you that I think will be really useful in making use of this whole video. Links in the description.
I want to take that literal description link and I'm going to put it in this link. I want you to click on it and go and support them because, they would like to get money. Okay, I'm also going to make sure their Patreon link is down there if it's still here. Additional music. Yeah, I'm going to send you to their Patreon and then to their sponsor link. Look in the description for this video so you can go and support them. Thank you.
Place a giant anything into a setting, and it's going to have some interesting effects. Make it a person, and you end up with some really bizarre interpersonal dynamics. Cannibalism, social hierarchies, the reflection of the self.
You make it people. You know what? Every time they mention something that's similar to something I've already made, I'll mention it. I had a race of people who were called Titans, and they all have one fucking absurd just ability that they can pass on. What the fuck? Okay. Sorry, I was looking at my Google notifications. Well, not Google, actually phone notifications, but this one happened to be from Google. Hold on, give me a second. Bitch, I know damn well I did not get hacked. Hold up. Oh, hell no. Okay, I'll resolve that after the video.
All that fun stuff, which we are almost certainly going to talk about in another video, but make it something else, something alive, but not quite so much like you. Animals, plants, aliens, even incarnations of concepts. Well, now it's hard to know whether they're really malicious. It's just sort of nature, a sentient piece of nature.
Yep.
One that could destroy you without a second thought, that could end you and your...
God, saying nature this many times in this different ways just reminds me of fucking Kagan and Remus and, well, all of Hybrid. If you get the reference to that, good on you. You are a well-read person. If not, go search.
Your way of life with ease, perhaps without even noticing, all on its own. There are endless examples of this in fiction. Some of them are predatorial, with an active, animalistic drive to harm you.
The fuck is that?
The man-eating titans from the anime Attack on Titan, with their lax, empty expressions and malformed silhouettes. The alien kaiju from the movie Pacific Rim, pouring in from an interdimensional rift in the ocean's floor to destroy the human race. Some of these giants are distinctly on the more benevolent side, actually offering help to the world's people in some fashion.
What the fuck
I particularly love the oddly adorable Silt Striders from the third game in the Elder Scrolls franchise, Morrowind. Immense, imposing bugs that are docile enough to be used for what amounts to bus transit. I also love the idea of the fabricated behemoths that Scott Westerfield invented for his Leviathan book series. Massive sea mammals, krakens, jellyfish, carefully bred and engineered to carry humanity through the skies like fleshy zeppelins.
Ew.
And that's only one way that they've made use of them. But it doesn't have to go one way or the other. They don't have to be helpful or harmful necessarily.
Don't remember.
They can also just be. Maybe they're so far removed from the people who inhabit their world that they just can't have an impact, like the massive dinosaurs and insects and beasts of Skull Island in King Kong. Maybe they have an inherent effect, but it's completely neutral and impossible to influence in...
Oh my god. The Earth is flat! No. But seriously, can we just agree that the, Earth turtle idea is actually really fucking cool? It just seems cool.
Any way whatsoever. Like Atuin, the world turtle who carries the whole of Terry Pratchett's Discworld on its back. Whatever the role or temperament of your great beasties, and there are bound to be many, one thing is almost always guaranteed. These things are going to create tension for the people who share their world, and those people are almost always going to react to it. There are honestly too many interesting ways authors have thought to approach these dynamics to list here, but I think we've found a tidy way to categorize them. Really, how does anyone respond to tension? They either try to resolve it, ignore it, or let it destroy them. In this case, I think we can put this pretty simply. People forced to live with the tension that giant monsters bring are either going to compete with them, cooperate with them, or find a way to coexist with them.
I was about to say what order in which I would want to do these options if I had to make the choice, but honestly, just do it in reverse order. Try to coexist. If that doesn't work, cooperate with the motherfuckers, and if that don't work, well, it's time to stab the dragon in the heart.
Pretty broad, I know, but wait until you see what these things look like. When people do feel the need to compete with these massive organisms, it's generally because they feel a significant threat to their way of life, and they're making an effort to remove or reduce that threat.
Yes.
This effort can result in a few different outcomes. Perhaps the people win. It's not inconceivable. Humans have done wilder things in reality, but it's interesting to speculate about how or why this might happen, especially given all the odd quirks of the fantastical beasts they're facing in these stories. What do they do when their natural predator is no longer looming over them?
Oh, yeah, that is a fun fact. When you remove a big fucking game thing, all the other smaller ones just go, great, I guess we're not expert predators. Sorry, I'm thinking back to another kaiju creature I have, which is I think it was the gilded or sparkling wobbler. It's basically a giant roadrunner, but all of its feathers are extremely shiny and reflective. And wherever it goes, it brings a sandstorm that's constantly surrounding it, and it lives in a desert, right? Thing about that desert is that it's a desert of living sand. Well, not living, but moving sand. It's basically just a sea of ocean sand that moves like water, right? And this thing runs along it, but wherever it goes after it leaves the sandstorm, there follows rain. So people basically just move as a nomadic tribe that, like, it's just a nomadic tribe that follows after the sandstorm because there's always rain, always water. Anyways, let's keep going.
Or when they've simply proven that they are the apex species. The card game Magic the Gathering has a world setting called Tarkir, where mighty dragons once competed with the native clans for dominance. But, eventually, the clans rallied together and hunted all the dragons to extinction. Now, unchecked, the clans ravage their world, slaughtering each other in an attempt to claim and reclaim every square inch of land for themselves. You can see the bones of dragons standing out on the horizon, petrified features of the landscape. Something feels like it's missing from this place. Part of the world's magic has died.
Yeah,
Spoiler,
no, that's fucked.
Eventually the dragons come back, which is a welcome change of pace for anyone who's been watching this channel.
So, I'm just gonna say this right here, right now. I love Here Be Dragons. If I'm thinking this is the SCP, where it's like a world of like in that world it's real, but when they go in and when they come out the box, they become paper. I have no idea if that's the right thing, but I think it is.
For a while now, but we're not talking about that part here. Another possible outcome of this competition is, well, still pending results. Maybe the people can't ever quite get the upper hand. Maybe the best they can do is struggle against a threat that is simply part of their world. I like this one a lot because I think it requires the most ongoing ingenuity. The inhabitants never get to just be done with the conflict. They have to shape their entire world around it, forever. I mentioned Attack on Titan earlier. It's a great example of this because to keep away their huge, hungry, uncannily childlike predators, they've developed tools like an impossibly large set of protective perimeter walls, as well as an apparatus that they call vertical maneuvering equipment, which allows their military to at least sort of compete with the threat. Not really a solution per se, but it's something at least. Another example I really like, also from Magic the Gathering, is the world of Ikoria, which is overflowing with huge...
So, I haven't gotten into Magic purely because I know that I get far too invested in too many things. I have too many projects. But, god damn, the art is pretty.
Huge, dangerous, unpredictable monsters. To enjoy any kind of stability at all, the peoples of this world have had to adapt and develop creative approaches to habitation. Massive walls and ranks of monster-killing soldiers, a moat of lava and a city built into the side of a volcano. And best of all, in my opinion, a floating city of balloons and aircraft designed to hang in the sky, far above the dangers. Maybe none of these are ideal.
And then you still have to worry about the issues of all of these. Okay, so you have a city with walls. Great. What if there's multiple of these creatures that come at you? How many of them can you take before they really ruin you? Oh, you live in lava? Okay, what about the thing that can survive the lava and swims there? And then if you're in the air, something eventually will be able to fly. What then?
Living conditions, but they are at least living conditions. One can only be so lucky. Or not, because the last potential outcome of competing against a force like this that I can see is that you lose. Sometimes there is no recourse, no meaningful way for the people to fight back. sometimes the monsters they're facing are just too powerful or too pervasive, and it's all they can do just to eke out their pitiful existence, if they even get to do that much. This wasn't really that easy for me to find examples of, but I did find one very surprising and very
I heard of
interesting
Wings of
example.
Fire. Also heard it
In
never
the
ended.
book Wings of Fire by 2E.T. Sutherland, we find a world where human civilization is essentially non-existent.
Oh.
That's because, very much the opposite of Tarkir, dragons are the apex predators here, and humanity has become so insignificant they aren't even known by a species name. They're just thought of as scavengers, living off the scraps of dragon society. And notice something here. To these dragons, what we would consider people are barely better than animals. The dragons, the giant monsters, in this case, become the people, taking on that role as they dominate this world. Very interesting reversal. But of course, the picture doesn't.
This now just reminds me of an idea. Well, not reminds me. It just makes me wonder about an idea of like if people went through a portal and just happened to see like mini creatures that were like, "We have our civilization," and we're like, "Nah, there's a lot of resources here. We're gonna take it." Actually, now that I think about it, America comes in. Ah, what you call the grass, the lakes, are actually puddles of oil. This is ours now, little ones. Like I can see it. I can see it.
Always have to be so grim, so polarized. A vast difference in scale does not always lead to a vast competition. Sometimes it actually creates new, promising possibilities. Make no mistake, cooperation is still an interesting source of tension that leads to fascinating world building.
Ooh.
The question of how this often tenuous relationship was formed and how it will be maintained, if it is maintained, is rife with fascinating questions that the.
I like cooperation, but yeah, he is right. There's a lot of fucking questions to be asked. I was gonna think of like, well, if there's giant creatures, what if you can make pacts with them? If you're making deals with them, you can summon them. There's something that they need from you, and you can use them for their size, their strength, their abilities. I summon you in attack position.
World builder in you will probably race to answer.
Yes.
The obvious connection here is what we'd refer to in ecological terms as mutualism. Both the people and the monsters benefit from each other. This one is fairly simple compared to the others, but I think the surrounding story of how and why this happened is definitely a worthy exploration. In fact,
I'm now realizing that if we're going down each option, we're gonna get to coexist, and I'm also realizing that my dust wobbler creature is literally coexist. You just walk behind the thing, and if it comes down to it, that roadrunner is going to basically run by you really fast, shine bright lights into your eyes, while you're also being blinded and choked by the desert, and then stab you with his toes. But like, there's a lot of coexisting you can do if you just stay out of his distance, you know.
those very questions are one of my favorite things about the movie How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
Initially militant, ready to murder any of these huge, fire-breathing, sheep-stealing, warrior-killing beasts that come to their land.
I love that alliteration there. Also, yes, I love more How to Train Your Dragon. This is good.
Of these huge, fire-breathing, sheep-stealing, warrior-killing beasts that come to their lands, the people of this world eventually realize that they actually share a similar conflict with the dragons, an even bigger threat holding them under its control. From here, they form a bond, using the equipment they initially created to kill dragons in order to fight alongside them.
To kill dragons.
Now, instead of being burnt to a crisp by dragonfire, it's one of their greatest tools. I love that. But it's just so sweet, almost saccharine. And the cynical part of my mind wonders, would this really be so balanced?
No.
I find it much more likely that the cooperation turns out to be a little more heavily weighed in favor of one party. And I won't mince words.
I'm just gonna be honest with you, okay? You treat them like horses. You treat them like cattle. That's what it becomes. Let's be honest here. That's what it is.
For all of their redeeming qualities, humans aren't exactly.
No, no. I was like, you treat them like cattle, you treat them like horses. Immediately gets out the whip, starts fucking beating down on the creature. I'm like, no, no. Shit.
And I won't mince words. For all of their redeeming qualities, humans aren't
Jesus.
exactly known for their capacity to treat nature fairly.
No, we
So
don't.
I can certainly see a relationship far more akin to parasitism developing here. My favorite example of this is probably something that occurs in China Mieville's amazing book, The Scar, which has easily some of the coolest world building I've ever seen. The floating city of Armada, made from thousands of boats, connected by gangplanks and netting, travels the sea very slowly by way of a fleet of tugboats. Not very efficient at all. So, what do? They summon an Avank, a mile-long sea creature too large to exist comfortably in the seas as they are, which swims in and out of the inky depths of reality. They bind it with thaumaturgy and...
Excuse me. This thing swims in and out of reality. I'm trying to wrap my head around how the fuck this works. It's literally doing something that's impossible, so I shouldn't be trying to fathom what it can be doing. But fuck, that's actually really cool.
Strange sciences connect it to an immense harness.
Also, another good fact about watching Foundry, you get to learn about a whole bunch of other books and shit to go and watch later. Or read. Mostly read.
And chain it to their city like a chariot. And it works fabulously for them. Until it doesn't. The Avank isn't made for this world. It gets ill and dies, its great corpse filling the sea with islands of fetid tissue and pus. Wild, fascinating, bizarre, sad. I loved every moment of it. It's an out...
Also, no, you can't just say, I love this, after telling, because I was like, that's really cool, and then I remembered we're also talking about parasitism here, so this was gonna get fucked. I forgot that, okay? But just floating islands of pus and tissue sounds disgusting. Also, it's a fish creature, so you know it's gonna smell like ass before it dies, and after it dies, it won't smell any better.
Outstanding demonstration of how exploitative people can be, even in the face of the most majestic things their world has to offer. So, we have competitive dynamics where the people vie against these massive creatures for dominance, leading to the creation of settings which would never have existed otherwise.
Yes.
We also have cooperative relationships, where the difference in scale is actually a source of enrichment, and worlds collide into a new, interesting, harmonious setting, provided they can just be a little less opportunistic for a hot second.
Yeah.
But those are only the good and the bad
No,
here.
no. Oh,
really,
God, no. You just
doesn't
beat him
have
again.
to be either. As I said earlier, sometimes they simply coexist. Which...
I love this option. Wait, hold up. What was the other big creatures that I have? Nope, that's cooperation. I have the planetary core BF giant magma and elemental, which appears at volcanoes and wherever magma is open, and it demands tribute from society. If not, it'll just swallow them whole. That's cooperation. Um, competition is the Black Leviathan, because if you annoy its god, it will descend upon you and swallow your entire plate full. Um, the punishments are basically just death most of the time with these giant kaiju. It's not special about that. It's just what they are and what the cost of it is. Um, the big aardvark creature that turns things to wood and cuts through wood very, very easily. Um, what is that? Cooperation, because it defends the Elven Kingdom. The Dust Wobbler is coexist because the people don't interact with it really. And the Salamander Leviathan. Competition slash cooperation, because it basically shakes people down. Well, it shakes down pirates because most of the pirates have like a good space where they'll stand on this island that's around the Leviathan, and the Leviathan allows people to basically dock there as long as they pay tribute. So no official government's gonna try to get past this big sea monster that's actually working as a ferryman for the illegal people stealing and robbing others. Um, hmm. Yeah, it seems like most of my shit's cooperation.
In its own way, also creates a surprisingly large amount of tension, because the possibility is always there. No matter how removed these creatures are, how ambivalent, that difference in scale is impossible to ignore. The knowledge.
So, I know that we're not supposed to ask questions whenever they do shit like this, but the fuck is this orb? Because at first I thought it was like the sun, you know? But if they're shooting a sun at me, I'm dead. And at the same time, it kind of started to look like
The
flesh,
possibility is always
which makes me
there.
more
No
confused.
matter how removed these
If it's
creatures
like an
are,
eyeball
how
or something.
ambivalent, that difference in scale is impossible to ignore. The knowledge that just one of these things could destroy you
Yeah,
and everything you love without much thought at all? No way not to be moved by that. And if you do see it as a potential source of power, if only you could get your hands on it, figure out how to harness it.
I don't want to harness this thing. I want to learn from it. I don't want to take what it has. I want to gain what I can get of my own strength. I always love the idea of learning powers and shit from the literal nature itself, you know? Seems fun.
That thought will probably haunt you for as long as you share the same world. Which, in its own way, also creates a surprisingly large amount of tension. I mentioned Skull Island near the start of the video. It's actually a great demonstration of this concept, because it is separate. It is far removed. It's a wonder, a myth. It's fascinating and intriguing, and the dinosaurs and beasts, even King Kong himself, we find out, would certainly wreak havoc on mankind if they could. But they can't. On the flip side, it may also be this isolation from humanity that's allowed the island to thrive in this way. But that distance cannot last. Humans cannot know about this thing, stand in awe of it, and simply sit with that tension. They have to go to the island, bring back a prize, and we all know how that turns out. The tension is palpable from the moment we first hear about Skull Island, and it's more than a curiosity about the unknown. Sometimes that kind of intervention is literally impossible, though. As I also mentioned near the start, Atuin, the world turtle from Terry Pratchett's Discworld, carries the entire planet, or disk that is, on its back. And that's about it. On occasion, it protects the disk from meteorites with its flippers and beak, and is careful to swim through the cosmos gently, but is otherwise so far removed from the happenings upon the disk itself that the denizens hardly even know anything about it at all. And there's a majesty in that. Something about a creature this size, this much vastly larger, existing in the same reality as you, that you just can't ignore. That itself.
I fucking love this. Also, no, don't say that because that's inviting flat Earth here. Nah, fuck it. So is this what flat earthers believe in, or what? Because if this is what they're believing in, this is a cool belief. If it's just a flat disc, if they really just believe in quarter Earth. When I mean quarter, I mean disc Earth. Y'all are shit. Y'all are like not even imaginative. Like, damn. Anyways,
is a piece of the setting. The very presence of a creature like this enriches and mystifies the world.
yes.
And, in an interesting way, I think these fictional behemoths do the same thing for you, the audience. Even though they're not really a part of your world, I think they call upon something that is very real. I mentioned how small they make you feel right at the video start. That's true, but I think it's more than that as well. In watching all these different people struggle against this as a threat, draw on it as a source of power, look upon it as a living wonder, don't you also begin to feel what these characters must be feeling? The knowledge buried deep beneath your sense of self, beneath your tribalism toward your species, beneath your anthropocentric perspective, that you are not the center of your world? Yes,
Ah,
humanity has clawed.
I was about to say, I was like, what? I mean, human beings are pretty much just God here, you know? We do a lot of fucked up shit. Humans are gods. And if you're thinking, what do you mean by that? There's an elephant, there's cougars, there's lions, there's all sorts of things that'll kill you. I go, they're just as godly. Anyways.
its way to dominance, but that doesn't mean the world belongs to you. You as a species have just become the predatory behemoth to the things smaller than you.
Yeah.
You are but one thing in an amazingly complex planetary system. The world is not yours, and these creatures remind you of that. And, honestly, the world is far more interesting from that perspective, as we've seen.
Exactly.
Now the question is, how will you harness that? What ideas does this give you? And how are you going to build your own worlds from them? It's kind of a big question, though, isn't it? Really, how does anyone just make a world? If you don't already have a lot of experience doing it, it can be a pretty monstrous task. But
World
it
building is
really
fun.
doesn't
Good.
have to be. Like all art, this should be fun, and I know a great way to make sure that happens. There's an online tool called Campfire that will change everything for you. It's such an easy, carefree experience. Instead of worrying about the monumental big picture of the thing, you can break it all down into bits and pieces and just make the parts of the thing that you really want to make. Think of it like a big toolbox that just makes everything manageable for you. You can use it to build character sheets, timelines, relationship webs. It even has a manuscript editor that lets you reference all your notes while you write. If that weren't enough, they also have a huge number of learning resources to teach you about the craft, as well as an entire platform to share your work on and get it discovered. If that's what you want. If not...
By the way, everyone, get down to the description right now. I'm gonna do more outro shit, but I'm gonna let them spell off the rest of this ad, okay?
Don't worry, it's totally secure. Only the people you choose to share your work with will see it. You can create an account for free and get access to everything right from the start. But if you want to expand into bigger projects, Campfire can help you with that too. They let you pay only for the features you absolutely need, which means you can start a subscription for as low as 25 cents per month if you want. You can also pay a one-time upfront price if you don't feel like paying for a subscription. Visit the link in the description and use code TF to get 20% off your membership. It's truly one of the most accommodating tools I've ever found, and it really turns what could be a massive, daunting process into something fun and simple.
I don't know who the fuck that is.
Visit the link in the description and use code TF to get 20% off your lifetime membership.
What is that? Oh, that's a family tree.
So, there you have it.
Just a tree
All
in
the
general.
tension created by these gigantic predators, benevolent giants, towering wonders of the world, the ways in which the inhabitants of the world compete with them, or cooperate, or coexist. So many interesting possibilities, so many still to explore. Tell us what you come up with in the comments. It'll still be a week before our next upload, so in the meantime
Oh, shit.
Oh dear. That's not good.
I was gonna say, like, maybe he won't find people, and then I heard the crunch and squishiness. So, he found people, but that's okay. You know, it's just one or two dead folks.
Keep making stuff up, leave comments, you know what to do. I have to go deal with this. Hey, stop! Don't touch that.
Anyways, that was World Building with Giant Monsters by Foundry. Look in the description, you'll find the links below. See you later. Bye, motherfuckers. Also, I'm just having fun doing dumb shit. Oh yeah, by the way, I got links. Okay, I want you to support them. I want you to really, really, really get out there for them. Okay. Now, also for myself, I'm gonna like y'all to like, comment, subscribe, do whatever the hell you want to. Really. As for liking, like it if you enjoyed it. Comment if you got something to say. Subscribe if you want to come back around, support, and just overall, you know, the usual bullshit. But most importantly, if you think I'm worthy of your subscription, subscribe. Thank you. I got links down in the description. The very bottom one will be my link for my subscribe star and dumb shit like that. What you get out of it? Well, 3D models, writing, bullshit. You just get access to actually support me on stuff. Anyways, see y'all.